close. In January, the last remaining Ruby Tuesday in Wisconsin closed. With COVID-19, bankruptcy, and recent closures, Restaurant Clicks predicted in 2022 that it won't be long until Ruby Tuesday is gone for good. Boston Market is not having a good year. According to reports, at least 3 individual locations closed in 2022. 2 of those locations were in New Jersey in Monmouth and Howell, and the 3rd was in Michigan. This year's scattered closures are one sign that Boston Market is just barely hanging on across the United States. As of October, there are roughly 300 Boston Market locations left. In the early 90s, there were more than 1,000 locations, so the restaurant's demise has been somewhat gradual. But things have started to look especially bad in recent years. The chain closed 10% of its stores in 2019. The next year, the pandemic hit. In 2021, labor shortages put pressure on workers, leading to an employee walkout. If this downward spiral continues, Boston Market may be a thing of the past by 2023. Steak 'n Shake is trying to play it cool. The restaurant chain seems to believe that changes implemented in early 2022, such as replacing human servers with virtual kiosks and introducing a new menu, will save it from collapse. But even these new developments may not be enough. Locations have been disappearing for a while. In 2022, the number of Steak 'n Shake locations has been reduced to roughly 500. During 2022, the company has also been shaking things up by attempting to convert company-owned locations into those that are franchise-owned. If trying to pawn off its locations onto other people doesn't work out for Steak 'n Shake, this could be the restaurant chain's last year. It might be the last chance to sample the menu, known for its extensive varieties of hamburgers and milkshakes.
Whipped cream and cherries, check.
Since 1991, Joe's Crab Shack has been a standby for some American families. Each themed location provides a colorful place for parents and children to escape when they don't want to cook dinner. Patrons are served heaping portions of seafood, no matter how far from the coast a location may be. But as of 2022, the chain only has locations in around 16 states. In some of those states, there is only one location. At least one longtime Joe's Crab Shack closed its doors for good in 2022 in Boise, Idaho in June. To make matters worse, it appears 2 buildings in Vancouver and San Antonio that used to house Joe's Crab Shacks caught fire this year. At the Texas location, it was not the first time that the restaurant had caught fire since Joe's Crab Shack vacated it. Only time will tell if this chain survives in 2023. As another chain hit hard by COVID-19, the fast casual chain Noodles & Company has been desperately trying to turn things around in 2022. However, during the final quarter of the previous year, it reported losses of around $8 million due to the impact of coronavirus variants. Then, its pattern of failure continued. In the first quarter of 2022, it reportedly lost over $6 million. Noodles & Company responded by raising prices. The company also unveiled a new rebranding effort to try to save things. During some points in 2022, things looked better for the chain. After increased earnings reports in the spring, the chain's stock went up. But even then, the chain hasn't necessarily done enough to ensure it will survive long term. Despite claims that Noodles & Company is on the mend, we're not so sure. We'll see what happens to them next year.
Okay, well, see you tomorrow.
Of course.
It may come as no surprise that TGI Fridays is on its last legs. From the chain's striped logo to outdated menu items like loaded potato skins. There's nothing about this chain that screams 2023. It's been around since the 1960s when it first gained popularity as a singles bar. But try to remember the last time you heard people referring to TGI Fridays as a place for young people to meet. We can't. TGI Fridays took a hit in 2020 when the coronavirus pandemic forced the chain to permanently close 20% of its restaurants. But multiple additional locations have closed in 2022. On a positive note, the chain has plans to greatly increase its international presence. It's even opened a few restaurants outside of the US this year, but even still, TGI Fridays' current number of locations is nowhere near its peak. We'll be waiting to see if they completely disappear from America by 2023's end. With a history as old as Friendly's, it's a miracle that this chain restaurant is still open. The business has been around since 1935, when a pair of brothers founded the first Friendly's ice cream shop in Springfield, Massachusetts. Before long, other foods, such as burgers and fries, were added to the menu. Today, food offerings are much more extensive than you'd expect. At Friendly's, the menu features quesadillas, chicken tenders, fish and chips, hot dogs, tomato soup, and more. Despite the large variety, this restaurant isn't doing so hot. Just 2 years after filing for bankruptcy due to coronavirus, multiple locations of Friendly's closed in 2022. This may be a sign that the chain's time is coming to an end.
The company released a statement saying it regrets the closures, but that operating the restaurants was simply no longer viable.